Hey guys, another week, another Friday wrap, and another $100 to give away. I'm going to say that I'm about to deliver the most important topic of a Friday wrap that I ever have. I am going to get straight into it. How much money do you need to retire? All right, as per usual, the general advice warning, you've heard it before. Don't run off and make a change to your situation based on something I've said. If you want to talk about you, give me a call. We'll do just that. And if we need to, we'll advise you accordingly. All right, look at that big number, $640,000. How much money do you need to retire? According to a group called the Association of Super Funds of Australia, you need $640,000. Let me explain. This is for somebody, when I say somebody, a couple in their own home, debt-free, relatively healthy, who want to live a comfortable existence in retirement, which is $65,445 a year. It assumes they're going to live for 25 years till age 92, and it assumes that you earn 3.25% above inflation. So $640,000 is how much you need. But is it? Well, let's have a look first and foremost at the Aspha Table. This is not a flash in the pan amount, this $65,445. They've done a budget of a single or a couple, how much that they need to spend on all these different items, which would be general, which would give you a comfortable standard of living in retirement. So there's been a lot of research gone into it. But is that the number? Well, it's not. Because not everyone is a couple who has their own home, who's debt-free, who's relatively healthy, who retires at age 67, who earns 3.25%, and who lives for 25 years. So it always comes down to, what about you? Okay, what lifestyle do you want to live off in retirement? Scratching my nose. Give you a quick story. I used to say to people, how much do you want to live off in retirement? Everybody replies with, I don't know. And so I would say, there's this group called Aspha. And back then, they said you need to live on $62,000 a year. And most people would go, oh, okay, let's go with $62,000. But for me, I'm like, that's a bit of a cookie cutter approach. As I've just said, not everybody's the same. $62,000 is not going to be suitable for everybody. Anyway, this one time, I'm sitting down with a friend, and the wife says to the husband, and I won't use the colourful language, but you'll get the gist, you better work your backside off, buddy, because there's no way knowing I can live on $62,000 a year. Now, I'd been with these guys for an hour, and I already knew a lot of their stuff. They each earned $65,000 from their business, $130,000, okay? So let me bring it back. $130,000 minus the tax they paid brought them down to $105,000. $105,000 minus the home loan repayments they paid brought them down to $70,000. $70,000 minus the car loan repayments brought them down to $58,000. $58,000 minus the cost of their children brought them down somewhere in the $40,000s. When they retire, they're not going to have a home loan. They're not going to have a car loan. They're not going to have children that they're dependent on. They're not going to have these expenses. So if they got to $62,000, that would have been a pay rise for them as opposed to what they were currently living on. So we need to try and figure out, what is it that you want to live on? How much do you want to live off in retirement? When do you want to retire? How long are you going to live for? I've got clients that say, mate, just get it out to 70. I don't see myself living past 70. I've got clients that are probably going to live well into their hundreds. So everything is different for you. So let's have a look at some things you need to consider. Let's say this is today. If you want to retire in your 50s, you won't have access to your super. So you need liquid assets that can generate the income that you want to live off in retirement. You've got to consider that. If you want to retire before age 67, but after age 60, you do have access to your super. So you can consider that. And if you want to retire after age 67, then you can get access to your super. And if you're within the limits, you will also get eligibility for the age pension. Things that you need to consider. So, our retirement calculator, when we work out how much wealth do you need to accumulate, it assumes that if you're a couple, we want you to be debt-free in your own home. That's something that we're working towards. We work in today's dollars. We say retirement will be for 30 years. Okay, you'll retire and live for 30 years. We assume a 5% return on your investment. We assume inflation at 2%, and we assume all of the rules that we currently live by stay the same. So, some examples. If you retire at age 60 and you want to live on $65,000, you need $813,000. You can see all these numbers down to 120,000. You need $2.291 million. Didn't Aspha just say you only need 640 to live on that 64, not 813? Yes, they did, but we use different assumptions. Aspha has you retiring at age 67, living for 25 years, earning 3.25. Our goal is you're retiring at 60 and living for 30 years and generating a 3%. So different assumptions require different amounts in the end. All right, very important topic, something that you need to have clarity on moving forward, and something that I, as you know, am super passionate about. This week, my question, okay? You might think it's a bit of a silly question, but it's the most important question that I ask you. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Someone who replies with their answers, 2 questions, is going to win $100, okay? By the 5 p.m. Sunday, anybody who replies, they get their name added to an Excel spreadsheet in the order which they reply. A random number generator generates a winner. 2 questions. How much do you want to live off when you retire? And at what age do you want to retire? You don't need to go to do any research. All I want to do is you think about that, because when you start thinking about it, it's harder than you think. All right, guys, happy Friday. Be good. Looking forward to getting your answers.